Hello, I'm Kyle, and this is GIVEPAUSE Hobby, the channel where I take time to stop and appreciate the things and activities I love to fill my free time with. Today, I'm starting out strong with Writ as my first ever review in this series. The quick note, this is Writ as a general concept of a game, but specifically Writ up through the Marauder expansion. I have everything minus one neoprene mat. If you're interested in what each expansion brings to the experience, I've included links to much more in-depth written reviews down in the description. But let's get to it. Writ is a game of asymmetric factions of different species of animals vying for control of whatever landscape is on the chosen map. In addition to adorable meeples, each of these factions has a distinct player board that walks you through a turn unlike any other. From emerging from your vast underground empire, to trying to uphold promises made by your teetering government, to vowing to bring the would-be rulers down and return the forest to the common creatures, the very soul of this game is the interplay between these disparate groups. While victory is achieved the same way with every faction, getting to 30 victory points first, the mechanics for each are just as diverse as their thematic background. So in many cases, you'll be attempting to win the race with a pathway that's not even available to your opponents. What's more, given how much of the game is zero-sum and how different these factions are, the inclusion of each faction changes how the game feels. The puzzle you'll be trying to crack will be different depending on who's included, so you'll need to pay attention and leverage your faction powers accordingly. Now I know that for many people, what I'm about to say will absolutely baffle them, but my copy of Writ has seen far and away the most play as a solo game. That said, this is not a reflection of how I want to play the game as much as it is a necessity given the fleeting and fickle free time of having two little ones running around the house. I've also played a fair amount at 3, I've played not nearly enough at 4, and a handful of times at 2. And all these player counts, a key component to my success with the group in question, is recruiting players who trust the time-worn table nanny statements such as, "This will make more sense when we're playing," or "This seems like a lot now, but don't worry." While I absolutely stand by the veracity of these statements as someone who makes them regularly, and I firmly believe Writ is a game worth every minute of the teach, you need to make sure you introduce this game to people who are willing to tread water just a little bit in the deep end to get to the experience that you're promising. Depending on my mood and when you ask me, my biggest reason for playing as many board games as I do is either to mess around in an ever-broadening network of interesting decisions, or to simply provide the time and space to bask in the thematic narrative of the game's world. In the case of Writ, the answer is simple, because it's both, all the time. Every matchup, from the players around the table to the chosen factions entangled on the map that you chose, and just recently, a few extra knobs and levers of the hirelings and landmarks that you can adjust to, the game crackles with mechanical interactions, inspiring players to sometimes emergently roleplay the whims and wiles of their chosen critters, just because the names of the actions are so evocative and their effects are so visceral. And when it's on the table, manipulating all the components amidst the gorgeous artwork is just as engaging as thinking about what to do next. It is absolutely a lot to learn, and I will be the first to admit that, but it is also absolutely worth it. So that's my favorite game of all time. It's all downhill from here. If this interests you and you somehow miss the fact that this channel is filled with videos about Writ, specifically the Writ bots, you're in luck. And if you already knew that and you've already consumed those videos, I can assure you there is more where that came from. So until another one of those Writ videos or another one of these favorite shelves, thanks for taking a pause with GivePause, and we will see you next time.